All right, so in the previous video, I talked about how we're going to include in the discussion section the distribution shape of one or two random variables, and we're going to overlay measures of center on top of the histogram figure that you've created for your random variable. So of course, this is with the roller coaster example that I've got. So I'm going to show you how to create this illustration based off of your previous work. So to do that, we need to go to PowerPoint. And here we are in PowerPoint. I'm using the same PowerPoint presentation that I used to construct the illustrations for my box plots. Okay, so now I'm going to create this figure that you see here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add a new slide. And if you left click on this caret, you can insert a blank one. Okay, so that makes it really easy to start from. And, you know, it's useful using this same PowerPoint presentation because if you remember, we set the size of the slides to be 4 inches high and 6 inches wide. So this is already formatted for that. So if I keep this size, this will work perfectly in my report. So the first thing we need to do is we need to import this histogram. So I want to go to Insert, Picture, and I want to insert the picture from this device because I have it saved on my computer. And let's see, speed. So I want the histogram that had 16 classes and it was of my height variable. So I'm going to choose this and click Insert. All right, and so there is the height variable histogram that I saved, that I exported out of Microsoft Excel. All right, so what we need to do is we need to add this text and we need to add these arrows. So to insert text, just go to Insert, Text Box, and then you can pretty much just click anywhere. And then we can type mean. And I don't remember what the number is, but we'll put that in next. So we've got mean, and then we'll do insert text box, median, oops, and insert text box mode. Okay, so we've got mean, median, and mode. All right, so actually I need to kind of have it in the reverse order, but that's okay. Mode, median, and mean. And let's see here. My mode was 108.3. Median was 115. And my mean was 123.7. Okay, so, you know, I am just eyeballing this, which is what I'm going to say in the report, that I was just marking these qualitatively, meaning just by eye. So 108.3, 115, and 123.7. So 123.7 is going to be just under 125. So it's going to be just to the left of that. So I need to insert some arrows to kind of indicate where each of these things are. So I'm going to go to Shapes. And let's see here. Let's keep it inside. So I'm going to go Insert. Let's see, Insert Shapes. Okay. And I want to choose Arrow. Let's see, would it work better from home? No. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to choose Arrow. And I'm just going to left click somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Oops. Let me see. Let me put Insert Line. Okay. And if I hold the Shift key down, that allows me to kind of snap to specific degree angles. And I want to make sure that it's up and down. As you can see, it's made it rather thin, and it's also made it blue. and I want to change the characteristics of that. So, you can right click and, select format shape. It'll bring this property sidebar off to the side here. And so, yeah, this will be a solid line. I want to make it black. And the width, I want this to maybe be 4 point. Let's see, maybe 3. I think 3 points enough. So I'll make it 3 point. And I want this to represent the mean. That's at 123.7. So that's going to be just below 125, okay, which is just below half of this class, that bin right there. Okay, so that'll be where the mean is. Okay, the median is at 115. So let's see, 115 is going to be somewhere a little bit to the right of this boundary between these two. So I'm just gonna, so what I'm doing, I may have done that too fast, is if you select the arrow and if you hold down the control key, notice that the cursor changes to a plus. And that means when you click and drag this shape, it's going to create another copy of it like that. So it makes it easy so that if you want to make copies of shapes, that's the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to put this arrow to the right of that boundary, and that's going to be where my median is. Okay, like that. And let me put that a little bit closer to over. That's better. Okay, then we got the mode, which is at 108.3, and that's going to be just to the left of that boundary, somewhere right about there. And I'm going to put the mode right here. Okay. So now I've got mode, median, and mean. And I can kind of use arrow keys to kind of maybe fine tune and adjust these so that maybe they don't overlap. Gives me a little bit more control to use the arrow keys. As long as you select the shape, you can do something like that. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so yeah, I like to kind of play with it just a little. That's close enough. All right, so now we've got the mode, the median, and the mean kind of roughly identified in this histogram. But I also wanted to add like a general shape for this histogram. So to do that, you want to insert what's called, I think they're called Bezier curves, but it's a continuous Bezier curve. So under shapes, there's this shape right here, which kind of looks like, a wavy line. You want to select that one. And then I'll start it right in the middle of this bin. And you don't have to click and hold, you just click to put control points. So I'll show you what I mean. So left click once, we'll put a point there, and you'll notice there's now a line tethered to my cursor. This is where I want the second point to be. So I'll click, and you see now as I drag, it's tethered a new line, but this new line is being anchored by this previous point. Okay, and so I'm going to click maybe another point here. So let's put it here. And then I'm going to have maybe a fourth point right here. All right. Now, it's like, well, then how do you stop? Well, you stop with your last point by just hitting the escape key. Okay. And you'll see I've got a nice curved line. To make that show up better, let's go under format shape, make that a solid line, and make sure that it's black. And let's increase this to maybe 4 point. Really heavy, easy to see. And let's give it a dashed pattern of maybe this one. Okay, because we really want to draw focus to this shape. Now, you'll notice that this has kind of like this ugly belly in the curve, and it's below our axis line. So we need to fix that. So how do you edit this line? Well, under the shape format menu, over here to the left, it says edit shape. So make sure that your line is selected. If your histogram is selected like this, you'll notice you don't have that option, okay? So make sure that you select the line like that. You can see I've got these control points around the line. Go to shape format, click on edit shape, and put edit points. Okay, you'll notice now that we've got this red line kind of running through it, and you can see our control points. They're black squares. And you'll know that you come across a control point because the cursor will change. Maybe instead of being like a crosshair like this, it'll change to what looks like triangles that are going up, down, left, and right. Okay, we don't want to move the control point. What we want to do is click on this last one, and you'll notice that there's this control arm with this control point. And so if you notice, if you left click and hold on this control point, you can kind of change the attitude of that line into this point. So I want this line to maybe go roughly level, something like that. And you can see it's changed the path of that line just by moving that control point. So I can do something like that. Now, since this was the end point, I've only got one control arm that I can control. That's the line going into it. But if I click on this control point, it gives me two control arms. So this control arm affects the line going into this point, this control point, and this control arm affects the line coming out of that control point. So I can maybe make this a little bit smaller and drag it a little bit like that. So I'm trying to get this line kind of reflect the pattern of the data that I've got here in the end. And this looks good enough. I could maybe drag this over a little bit, something like that. This control point, this looks pretty good. Could change that a little. Okay, so now that all of this is done, if you're happy with the line that you've got, then all you need to do is just click somewhere out here, and you can no longer edit that line. If I wanted to, I could left click on it, go to shape format. I wonder what happened to that. Go to shape format, go to edit shape, and then choose edit points, and I can edit it again. Okay. But I'm done. So the last thing I need to do is I need to export this figure as a JPEG. So to do that, you want to hit Control A, which is select all, and then right click on one of these objects and choose group, and group this all together. With all of those objects now grouped together, you can right click on the edge of the object and choose Save as Picture. And we can save it as a JPEG. And I've already saved previous versions of this. You can call it whatever you want. I try and give the name something that tells me what's in it. So this is like a histogram of my height variable with measures of center and each shape drawn. And then hit save. And now I've saved this picture, this figure. And this figure is what I'm going to import right here in my report. So let's create the next one. So I'll go through these steps again with the other illustration. So if you want to see this twice, stay tuned. If not, you can stop here and try and do it yourself. Okay, so let's make this one. So the first thing I want to do is I want to insert a blank slide. So under the home menu, I can click on New Slide, but click on this caret and I can insert a blank one. And now I want to import my histogram. So I'm going to put insert pictures from this device. And I want the speed random variable with 16 classes. Okay, there it is. In retrospect, to give myself some more room here at the top, I should have put a higher value for this y-axis. That would have kind of brought these bars down a little bit. But, you know, that's in retrospect. All right, so we're trying to add to this histogram the fact that my measures of center were almost equal to each other. And so I'm only going to need one arrow on this one. So actually what I can do, because I liked this arrow, I can just copy that. Let's paste it in here. And that was around 55, so that'd be somewhere right about there. And let's insert text. So I'll click text box, and let's see, the mode was equal to the median. Okay, and I need to put those wavy lines and put mean. Okay, so how do I put those wavy lines in? So what you need to do, let me make that go away. It's getting in the way. Options, show menu toolbar. Okay. So if I want to put those wavy lines there, what I need to do is go to insert, symbol. Let's see, that's missing. Okay, sorry. Insert, come over here to symbol. And I've already selected it previously. Let me see if I can find it. So all you need to do is kind of scroll through all these characters until you find the wavy equal sign. Should be with some other math operations. I skipped it. It's really hard to find sometimes because there's regular equals, but I want the wavy equals. Let's see. If you're watching this, you may have seen it, and I accidentally passed it up. There's one, but that's a little too small. I think there's a larger sized one in here. As you can see, it's got all types of special characters you can put in. Let's see. Not here, but it looks like maybe I'm close. Ah, here we go. So you can see it's easy to miss. So here's not equals to, and this is approximately equal to. So I'll click that and click insert. Don't make a liar out of me. Oh, okay. And then click close. And I had clicked insert several times. So put several copies in. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to put this up here. Okay, but notice, you know, I can see the line through it. So I can come over here to shape format and put a solid fill and make it white. Okay, so now that's blocking it out. This is a little too high. So I can change the size and size properties of this text box. And if I go to, let's see here, size, position, no, text box, the top margin and the bottom margin, I could put 0 like that. Okay, and you see it kind of made this box a little narrower from top to bottom. So I can do something, use the arrow keys. There we go. We can make it something like that. All right, and just like what I did before, I can hit Control A to select all, and then group everything, and then right click and choose Save as Picture. Oh wait, I'm moving ahead of myself. I don't have that line showing the shape. So let me do that. Sorry. So insert shapes, and I want this Bezier curve. And then left click to start, left click for another control point, left click for another control point, left click for another control point. And then when I'm done, I hit escape. And let's make this line, make sure it's black. 4 points, let's make it easy to see. And I want this to be dashed. So under dash type, I'll choose this one. It's a matter of preference. You can choose, there's a lot of different ones you can use, but I kind of prefer this one. And now we want to change the path of this line. So under shape, edit points. We'll click this last control point, and we'll move this control arm to be that way. Let's do this one. Let's play with that a little. That looks good. Actually, all of the rest of this looks good. I could maybe change this one to kind of belly in a little bit. That looks good. Okay, now left click anywhere else that deselects. That's a pretty good representation of that shape. So that works. Now, let me regroup again. So I have to put group everything, and then save as picture, save it as a JPEG, oops, not a GIF, a JPEG. And this is going to be pretty much the same thing as my height variable, but this is my speed variable. And I don't want to overwrite my original one, so I'm going to put a 2 and just click save. Okay, so that's how we've made our second illustration to put in our report right here.